opportunity to learn this beautiful language that came from you. And Father, let us also learn more about your heart as we learn about the book as well. And we connect with you and your desires. So we just welcome you, Holy Spirit, to have your way and bless us with your presence. And in Jesus' name, Yeshua's name.
Amen. Amen. Okay. So, for what we got mainly today, we're just basically doing one little letter, but a lot of instruction. So, the first thing you might want to know is that I have all the lessons for this book on YouTube. So, like, if you're not here for a week, you don't say, oh, I'll never catch up. You can just go and look on YouTube. So you go to YouTube, here's my name, okay? Or, right now, if you're interested, I have a video about the Messianic meaning of the month of Elul. Today's the first day of Elul. We might talk about it a little bit before we leave because it's very interesting. But when you get to my YouTube videos, it will say Class 1. I think you look under Biblical Hebrew, Class 1. Now, Class 1 actually has the first 3 lessons. Okay, Class 2 has the next 3 lessons, that sort of thing. And what I do is basically everything I do in here. And then I go over some of the things that are in the book. So like, let's say you're reading in the book and you go, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. You can get on the YouTube video and I read it for you. Now, I don't read every single page. It'll be an hour long. But I read enough to where at least you would have some understanding of what you're doing. Or like I said, if you're absent, or you get home and you go, oh, I forgot all of that, then you can just go to the YouTube video. I also have other videos on there that you might be interested in. I'm not trying to sell anything, but I have things like the biblical meaning of the shoe. And so what I do is I use the Hebrew word for shoe to explain the deeper meaning that you can get from knowing Hebrew. I do the shoe. I do a whole bunch of stuff. I think, I don't know, 50 videos or something. But I do the shoe and salt and yeast and barley and wheat and the cup, a whole bunch of stuff if you're interested. What has surprised me the most, I just put it out there because God said do it and I did it, okay? But what has surprised me the most is the number one thing that people are watching is the biblical meaning of barley. 600 and something people have watched it. I'm like, I didn't even know people were interested in barley. It was very interesting. So anyway, that's where you can go and get some information. I've also done all the spring feasts and all the fall feasts if you're interested, especially with them coming up. You want a little bit of history, what the Jewish people believe, what Messianics believe. Now, I'll have to admit, this is a, what do you call it, precursor, a warning. There's things that are controversial, right? But I try to explain the controversy and why there's a controversy. And then I try to give you my side of the story or why I think it's a certain way. But everybody has to come to their own opinion. So this just gives you another opinion, what I believe is the Messianic opinion. So it's interesting. But for sure, if you want to do the book, get on my YouTube because it goes through everything. The second thing is I am doing new lessons. Because what I did before is I had a class and I just did whatever the class was doing. So sometimes I do 1 week, sometimes I do 2, sometimes I do 3 lessons. And then it was never the same. No class was ever the same. So I'm doing 1 lesson, 1 worksheet for each lesson. So sometimes we may have 2, sometimes we just have 1. So, and normally I print them out for you, but this right here costs 50 cents. Believe it or not. It's ridiculous. And what I was finding is I'd have like a whole bunch left over, or I wouldn't have enough. And so I think the best way to do it is just to email everybody the worksheet, the week before. So you can print it off and bring it if you want, or you can just look at it online. Now, if you don't have a printer or a way to print it, let me know and I'll copy it for you. You don't have to give me, you don't have to give me money. It wasn't so much the money, but the fact that I had all these extra copies. And I'm like, I looked last year how many copies of almost a whole ream of paper. If I'm paying 50 cents a piece, that'd be a lot of money. So, plus the fact you'll have it, you won't lose it. If you lose it, you'll have a way to print it out of it. Let's see, what else? So, Lisa and I are co-teaching. She's good. She's really good. So we'll take turns doing this. For a number of reasons. One reason is that some of you have been in the class last year, and we just didn't have enough people that felt confident enough or really was ready to go on to a higher level Hebrew. But next year I expect them to go on.
Yeah?
Yes.
I was the last one in the class.
A lot of my students take beginning twice, and that's a good idea. I had a man, when I taught at the Gateway, that he had learned Hebrew as a child. He was Jewish, and he took it twice. And now he's the cantor for their Friday night Messianic services. So I'm really proud of him, but he took it twice. He's very humble. I feel like I need to do this twice. So it's not like you're not smart or anything if you take it twice. It's just you want the basic foundation before you go on. Because in this class, basically I am going to teach you the letter, okay? I'm going to teach you how to write the cursive. Because in Israel, they don't print. The only people who really print are the scribes, and they print the Torah. But they have a lot of signs and everything in Israel in cursive, so you'll be able to read the signs. If you communicate with someone in Israel and write a letter or something, it'll be in cursive. Of course, a lot of times it's email, so. But it's easier too. So in this class, you won't have a lot of writing to do, but if you go on, we write sentences and things like that. You'll want to know the cursive, right, Lisa?
Yes.
For sure. Because cursive, just like our cursive, is faster. So we do the letter, the cursive. We're going to do a little bit of conversation, okay? So on my new worksheet, I'm going to use yours, okay? On the front, what you'll have is you'll have the letter that we're doing. If there's a vowel, you'll have the vowel that we're doing. And then I have here an explanation. And sometimes I've decided this year it's kind of interesting what the letter kind of means. If there's a number or something, I might put what a number means. I just want, we're going to be cautious. I'm not into Kabbalah or anything like that, mysticism. But sometimes, like the number 7 or the number 40, they have a significance in the Bible. So we'll talk a little bit. That'll be on the front page. And then on the back at the top, we'll have a little bit of conversation. All right, and then we'll have more practice. Okay. There's practice in the book once you get the book. But especially for those of you who don't have your book yet, here's a little bit of practice. There's not a lot in the book right now anyway, because there's only just one letter. So, anybody have any questions before we go on? Yeah. No. Just the book. Not the Bible book. No cost for the class. We do this because we love it, right, Lisa?
Yes, absolutely.
I do. I love Hebrew, and the thing is, the more you do it, you can look up. Oh, the one other thing I forgot to tell you is I will teach you how to do read transliteration. It's very important to read transliteration correctly, because if you'll notice, most of the things that we do in the service are transliterations of the real Hebrew. They don't put a lot of real Hebrew up. They do, some, but they'll put a lot of transliterations. So if you don't know how to pronounce it correctly, then it's not really helping you. Or if you look it up online, It'll be transliterated. Now, there's some differences in transliterations, but for the most part, I think you'll pick it up pretty easy. So we'll do transliteration. But, forgot where I was going. So, we're going to start today with the letter bet and vet. Now, if you'll notice, when you look at bet and vet, the underlying symbol, this is on page 3. Everybody have something to look at anyway? I don't think she has. It is on the page I gave you.
Do you have one? We need one more page. You have another one?
No, I think wait.
She's got one.
I think there's 2 in there.
Can you use this one?
No.
Yeah, we need to know how to open the book first.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Right to left.
Right?
In Hebrew, you read from which direction?
Right to left.
So you open it backwards from normal. Yeah.
Okay, so there will be 1, 2, and 3. Is that right, page?
No, it'll say right here. Right here, page 3. The other way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so this is it. This is it.
There you go.
Thank you.
Now, this may look a little bit like kindergarten. Well, I hate to tell you, we are in kindergarten.
I'm in biggest kindergarten one right
This is kindergarten Hebrew. But anyway, it's the best way to start. And it's the book that I like the best because it starts with letters that almost within the second week you're actually reading words, real Hebrew words. I've seen books where they start with Aleph, but Aleph doesn't have a sound. And so, yeah. So that's why we're doing this. So this letter is actually one letter, one symbol. And the way you write the cursive, I finally found somewhere online where I could copy the cursive and put it on the worksheet. But I'd already spent $11 for this, so I can send you the other one if you want it. It has the cursive on it. But from now on, well, the second letter, I copied the second too, but from now on, I'll send it to you. From now on, you'll have the cursive at the top next to the letter. So you'll have the cursive right next to it. So you won't forget. That'll help you out a lot. So this one, it looks like a dinosaur head. That's what I call it, a dinosaur head. So if you want to write that on your paper. Now this is good for both of them. They're both going to look the same. But there's one difference between these 2 letters. Can you tell what the difference is? One has the dot. That's right. So this is called bet. And the good news about Hebrew is the word itself actually has the letter that it's going to sound like at the beginning of the word. So this is going to sound like a what? A V, a the. Okay, the is a soft sound. The, if you don't say it loud enough, you can barely hear it. Okay? When there's a dot in it, this is called a doggish. I have that on your paper. The doggish changes a soft sound to a hard sound. So it's called bet. So bump is a hard sound. Bump is a soft sound. And then you transliterate it with a beat. So it's technically one letter. If you're looking through scriptures and they instead of numbers they use letters of the alphabet, it'll be Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet. They won't put Bet and Bet. Okay, so it's technically one letter with 2 sounds. This is how you, here's the name of it, here's how you pronounce it, and how you transliterate it. So far so good? Okay, now in Hebrew, we have no vowels in the alphabet. Like in the English alphabet, A is also a vowel. But in Hebrew, there are no vowels. The way you have vowels is they put little symbols underneath. So these are the symbol we're going to start with first is just two little dots. Now this sound is an E. Sounds like an E. And it's transliterated with an E. So when you see an E up on the screen, it's not like B, it'd be bet. Okay? So if we put the dots underneath, we know that this symbol is a V, and this sound is an E. And then you would pronounce it bet. This symbol is a B, this vowel is a E, so that would be bet. So you already learned how to read Hebrew. There you go, that's it. Now, I did give you the names for the vowel on your paper. I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, Sarah. I actually started taking classes from the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. Not one time did they ever mention the name of the vowels. So it's not like you have to know them, but if somebody in class knows them and says, is that a Sari, then you'll at least know what they're talking about. So the thing about the vowels, which is interesting, the same as the letters, is the word for the vowel actually has a transliterated letter in it. So Sari has an E. Sari. When it's at the end, it's kind of an A sound. So any questions about the symbol, bet and bet, the doggish, or Sari? Okay, let's see what else I put in your thing for you. All right. You told me, you know, that you go from right to left. Hebrew. The interesting thing is, here's Israel. Over here. Everything on this side of Israel reads from left to right. Everything on this side of Israel reads from right to left. Everything points to Jerusalem, right? Wow. That's pretty cool. All right, now we're going to put two letters together. So this is, we're putting two letters together. Every vowel is basically its own little syllable. So when you see the fact that there's two vowels, you know there's two syllables, okay? The second syllable is mainly the one emphasized. So I'll show you how, if you can hear the difference. So you start on the right, because remember you go right to left. So this is a what? What's the symbol? B, and B, F. So this, you read the Hebrew this way, but you try to write the transliteration the other way. Now, this is the hard part. A lot of people have trouble with that, believe it or not. So you would say beve. So the second one is the one that's usually emphasized. Beve instead of beve. It's usually bevet. So I want, from the very beginning, I want you to start doing it correctly, because if you get in the habit of doing it wrong, you're going to do it wrong. Yes?
Okay, I know you say, open the book this way, and then when you write, you move that way?
This is the transliteration, so it's English, so you go left to right. But this is the Hebrew, you're going to go right to left. Confusing? Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the way to do it. All right, let's do,
I have a question about, you said emphasize the second vowel, when there's the case of two vowels, when it's a longer word, it just varies.
it varies, but the majority of the time the second one is.
Even on the, okay.
Oh, even on the bigger ones.
Not the last one.
But
On the last one.
the second one, but it's not always true.
Yeah.
I mean, Adonai. So, yeah, but right now it's going to be the majority of the time. All right, this one here, how many vowels do I have? One vowel. So how many syllables am I going to have? So I'm not going to have bevet. I'm going to have B-E-D. How would you pronounce that? Bev. So there's one syllable. Now you could even do this. How many syllables? There's still just two syllables, but you would say bev, bev. The bev.
Yeah.
So you have two syllables, bev and bev. So this is just, it's just like we have in English. You have a letter at the end, it's not a syllable. It just closes a syllable. All right? All right, are you ready to read some on your own? Let's start down here. On page 3, let's start on line 3. Line 3. Uh-huh. Like that. No, you next. That. Crystal,
Line 3, the second one?
third one. 3, 3.
Third one? Okay, that would be that.
Very good. What's the next one?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I think we did that one. That one?
Yeah, because this is blocked.
Yeah, that's, it is kind of a little problem to start with, and the fact that I don't know how to write blossom. I never learned.
I forget, I'm not the fastest one.
Okay, that. And then, oh, the last one doesn't have a vowel, forget that. Start on line 4. It was a mistake.
So,
Deb, very good. Randy?
Oh, right.
Deb? Yep, Deb. Next, Deb. Fred, are you doing it?
Oh, no, I'm doing my.
Okay, just wondering. Okay, next. 4, what are we on, the last one? Second to the last, okay.
Ben?
That's right. Over here, the last one on line 4.
Um,
Last one on line 4.
yeah.
Right here.
Oh, this
That's right here.
okay, so that would be,
So it's this letter, B, F, B.
okay,
Beb,
that,
Beb. One syllable, B-E-B. B-E-B. Alright, and the last one, line 5, Beb. Okay? So I'll let you practice those at home. Let's see if there's anything on here I need to go over. Most everything I just talked about is on the front page. You have a little homework if you don't have your book on the back. You can practice. It's not much though, because I thought you had your book. Sorry. Didn't come in. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a little conversation. Who knows? You might all go to Israel and you might want to at least have a little bit of conversation. So the first thing we're going to do is basically an introduction. The first word we're going to learn is ani. You see at the end there, the red at the end, ani. Now, maybe I should go ahead and tell you all the letters of the transliteration. So if you know Spanish, how many people know Spanish? Okay. The transliteration is a lot like Spanish. So it's A, E, O, U. A, E, O, U. So that's one transliteration. So when I do, this is A, ni. A, E, ani. Ani. Ani is I. And ani is very important because you will see ani in a verb and you will see ani in a noun. When you have an I at the end of something, a lot of times it means me or mine. Even Adonai has an E at the, it has an I at the end when you transliterate it. So, my God. So, that's why we're going to start with this, plus we can do a good introduction. So, if you're going to introduce yourself to somebody, you would say, Ani Su. Now, in Hebrew, they don't have an am, no word for am. Nope. No am. No is. No They don't have words for that. So when you say ani, it's basically I am. Okay? So ani su. See, is that all we're doing? Yes. Next week we'll say, who are you? So we're going to go down around because we're going to introduce ourselves. And do it in Hebrew. Okay, so Ani Sue.
Ani Lisa.
Ani Ruby.
I need Federico.
He's our class clown. I guess all you got to do is one time and you'll notice.
Ani Crystal.
Ani Krista.
Ani Randy.
Ani Carrie. Ani Ted. Ani Crystal. Ani Effie.
Ani Maria Elena. Ani Dini.
Okay, good. So we'll learn another word for the conversation next week. We'll take it slow. Well, for a while. Then we'll add more as the more we learn.
Speaking Hebrew already.
That's right. Already speaking Hebrew. And when you see this, like, you'll see this a lot in the songs we sing because, you know, I love you, Lord, or I want you, I need you. Right. I thought maybe since today was the beginning of the month of Elul, how many of you know much about the month of Elul? So it's very interesting. Once I started studying Elul, is one of my favorite months because it's so beautiful. First of all, Elul is, what's it called? When you have like the beginning of each word.
The beginning?
I can't remember the name in English.
It's not prefixed into.
So like, so each one of these has a Hebrew word. It means, I am my beloved and my beloved is mine. In Hebrew. It's on the, I have it all on there. I just don't know the English. I'm not really good with English, so. Especially like prepositions and, you know, whatever.
Pronoun.
Well, yeah. So, how many of you have ever known that phrase? I am my beloved and my beloved is mine? Yeah. Yeah, Solomon, and a lot of times James Avery loves that phrase. Because they have rings with the inside says, or outside says, I am my beloved and my beloved is mine. So, the Jewish people, they have a story about the month of Elul called The King is in the Field. So, the story is, and then I want you to share how you see the messianic perspective in it. There's a king, and he's going to get married. But he wants to make sure that the wife he marries loves him, and the people who come to his wedding all love him. Oh, do you want to tell it?
No, I think this is called like the root in the field with Moses.
No, this isn't in the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is a Jewish tradition, which once you hear the story, you're going to go like, you always wonder, why don't they believe, you know? But anyway, they don't. So the king, he's wanting to do this, but he wants to know the people he was coming, and the people who, you know, his wife is going to love him. So he takes off his kingly garments, puts on clothes of a servant, and he goes out into the field. That's why it's called The King is in the Field. Okay? Now, in the field, he gets to know the people. He knows who loves him, who doesn't love him. He knows their pain. He knows what they're going through. He knows who's loyal to him because he's one of them, and they don't know he's the king. So it's kind of like incognito. He's going out and doing this. And then he sends out his servants throughout the country, and the servants are telling, hey, the king is going to get married, and he wants you to come, and he wants you to love him, and all this sort of stuff. And so he's going to have a wedding feast, and when he does, we're going to blow the shofar, or the trumpet, in the castle, and you are to put on white garments, and you're to come to the castle, just drop everything, and come to the castle, and as soon as the trumpets it's over, we're going to shut the door, you can't get in. And once you do get in, we're going to see if your name is on the guest list. Okay? Because the king in the field knows who should be on the guest list because he knows who loves him. So, that's basically the story. So, who can tell me the messianic perspective of this?
Prince and a pauper.
Jesus is coming, like putting on flesh and his humility and being among us to
Right, Yeshua, he stripped himself of his heavenly throne. I mean, he was willing to do that. Just say, okay, I'm going to go down there. I want to be with the people. I want to feel what they feel. I want to hear what they hear. I want to understand them. This is a king that wants to know us and wants to know our pains and our sorrows. And so the king is in the field. And when he was here, he's inviting people to come be his bride, right? All you come, come to me, all you that are weary and heavy burdened and all that. Who are the servants? Well, anybody that tells about Yeshua and the prophets and things like that. I don't know, one story I read did say that they killed the servants because they didn't want to hear it, but it just depends. There's a lot of different stories because it's just a story that they've kind of made up it kind of prefaces Rosh Hashanah. Because what happens at Rosh Hashanah? They blow the trumpet. And you're supposed to come in your white linen. Okay? And the gate will be closed at that time. So, anyway, you can learn more about it on my little thing if you want to know. But I thought it was really interesting. I love this time of year. The Jews, during this month, because the king is in the field, they do a lot of introspection. You know, they try to say, well, what have I done this last year that hasn't been pleasing to God? And what have I done this year that may be an offense to other people? Because when they get to Yom Kippur, they're going to have to pay for it. So, fivefold. If they've stolen anything or cheated anybody out of anything, they have to pay it fivefold. So, if they do it in a lul, they may just have to pay it back. So, anyway, I thought that was interesting. So, next week we'll do the lesson 2. I will send everybody, I'll send you both of them. In fact, let me, since I have them here, and you're all here today, let me go ahead and give you the second one, but I will send it in an email because it does have the the cursive at the top now. I did a better job. This is new to me, and believe it or not, these are not easy to do. All right, guys, that's about it. I don't have anything else. If you have any questions. Oh, well, I don't have to. Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
And then once you learn enough, the rabbi may draft you.
Yeah.
And some people are wanting to plan their adult bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs.
Yeah.
So,
Now, I think on the back, the last 2, I think is not. Now, make sure you have a front and a back.
I'm ready for
because-
this book. I want you, I can't wait to start. This is the one that we're doing,
Oh, yeah, this
the advanced one.
We're done.
Yeah. Yeah, so. I got this online, I mean on Amazon. Yeah, this is the stuff we're doing, we're writing sentences. That's what we did after the wedding.
I want to write the block.
That's the dot. The dot is called the dot.
You know what, I will go back and practice this.
Oh my God, it is
Right, it's in the house.